Okay. Good afternoon. I'm very sorry that I'm the one keeping you here, so I'll try and make it very quickly. I have about 14 slides, including the introduction, conclusion, and dividers. So I guess it will be one. I intend to spend about a minute per slide because most of these we've learned today, and they are still very fresh. So for this one, I'll pass that. The only thing we need to take away from here is what Peter said in the morning, that the restriction has now been reduced for D-REITs to 100,000 instead of 5 million shillings. The rest, I think you've seen and you can read later. Again, this one, I've only put it there because we talked a lot about Sharia REITs this morning, but the rest, I think, normal. And I'll also skip this. The only thing that I wanted to point out here again is from Peter, when he said that Kenyan, we have a unique types of REITs in the D-REITs and I-REITs, and he dared propose that we should collapse those two structures into one. And so I don't know what the rest of the people in the room feel, but that was Peter's proposal, which I don't disagree with because he's my lawyer, so you don't disagree with your lawyer. But I think it's food for thought for seeing what has been happening in the REIT market. Then moving on, so I think I'll spend a bit more time here because these are new learnings for today. Mivida gave us a very good presentation in the morning. That was Samuel. Thank you very much. And what I got from Samuel was there is optimism, there's positivity, and there's a lot that can be done in the REIT sector. So the first one was that it's a great investment potential, but we still have a lot to do because we have a young market. The other thing was that we need to build an industry enterprise. We need to have companies that attract investors. And I think he said that that is what Mivida is doing to just bridge that gap. The other one was that we need to have professionals, and this was elaborated by Azmina. And she did say that for every stage of REIT management, you must have professionals doing what they need to do so that the REIT can be successful. And then the other one was that REITs require patient capital. So it's not for putting your school fees, it's not for putting money that you need next year. It is money that is patient and waiting and can be there for long. And if you do recall, Raghav then mentioned that even because REITs require frequent capital raising, so you need to be able to have money that, as an investor, that's already there to keep putting in so that you're not diluted. We talked a lot about portfolio quality of assets, quality of the fund. I can't see Raphael here, but you know he's my boss, so I need to also highlight some of the things he said. And he said that we need quality assets, and quality here is not just how shiny the assets are, it's really, of course, your assets, how shiny they are, the structure, quality of your REITs, quality of your income stream, sustainability of income stream, and so on and so forth, and including quality of your returns. So it's not just how shiny the asset is. I know Davina kept saying we need to be on Wayaki way. We don't all have to be on Wayaki way for REITs, but at least you must have quality assets that are able to produce long-term, growing, and sustainable returns. So moving on, we had ESG. This was Azmina, this was your baby, and you told us a lot about ESG. I just want to highlight a few things that we learned there. The first one was that we must engage specialists, and we also must incorporate ESG in our investments processes, our developments, and even our asset management processes. And she gave us a very good example where she had 3% premium upfront, which she has already recovered in 4 years. I don't know if there's anyone in the room that has an investment that pays back in 4 years. I can assure you REITs do not pay back in 4 years. So it's something that's very important. And she went ahead and told us that it also helps you with capital raising because investors are now prioritizing ESG practices. And then Peter told us about governance, so that one I won't repeat, but there was quite a bit of discussion. I think the new REIT that we learned about today was Islamic REITs. There was a lot of information there, so you'll be able to read some of this. But I want to just highlight 3 things. Number one, he said that they don't trade money, which I found to be very unique, and that they do not engage in uncertain investments, despite the fact that you're talking about property, which sometimes people say is high risk, but they don't engage in uncertain investments. And he went ahead and gave us 3 types of agreements that they get into, plus also the distribution. So over and above the REIT regulations, this is a type of REIT that also has very stringent requirements from the Islamic practice. So again, I won't read through everything, just in the interest of time. Then we went to incubation, toolkit, and anything in between there. We had lawyers telling us a lot of jargon and a lot of legalese, so I won't go into that. But just basically, that's the process flow. I know everyone in this room is somewhere in this process flow, this circle that you see there. Most of us are in education phase. We are learning today. And hopefully we set up a REIT and invite someone who has said that by April they want us to all, each of us have a REIT. But also the different REITs that I've talked about here the whole day. We had the 4 REITs that are at different stages. If you recall, Raphael talked about Fahari having gone through a restructuring. So you can basically say it's gone full cycle and it's starting afresh. Then we have other REITs that are in the process of just being now management and also fundraising and expansion. And then we've also had about 3 REITs that are just being set up now at different stages. Mivida is already in development. We have REITs that are still at concept stage. So I'm sure everyone in this room can put themselves somewhere in that process flow, and they can now see what is the next step to go to. And it's a circle because it doesn't mean that once you finish one step, you go to the next. You can still go backwards and check what didn't go well, and you then correct that. So that's why it's a circle. It's a continuous process that goes on. And then we had about modeling. This was Zorava's baby. And Zorava's took us through a lot of considerations that we make, but I'll just summarize it as follows. You have to look at the asset level, and you have to look at the fund level, and you have to look at also regulatory requirements. So at REIT planning level, I put in the process that Zorava had told us, and I've also talked about asset level. And the key consideration, ladies and gentlemen, is due diligence is very important. Please keep close to your lawyers, because a lot is changing in the regulatory space, in the legal space, in the compliance space, and it affects us every day. Give you an example, we were doing a transaction for Fahari and we knew minimum was 5 million, then just at the end of it, it suddenly became 100,000. So you can imagine if your lawyers were not close and they were not looking at that, the spirit and the letter of that change, as Peter rightfully mentioned, it could affect you and you can go back to the drawing board just because of one regulatory change. So keep close to your lawyers and transaction advisors. I think that's the key takeaway for there. And then the last one, we talked about the deal room. I've just summarized what the different issuers talked about, which again, this is just about an hour ago, so I'm sure you remember. But I think the key takeaway from here is there's something for everyone in this room, be it whether you're looking for a diversified REIT, a specialized REIT, you're looking for a D-REIT, you're looking for an income REIT, you're looking for mixed use, there is something for everyone. And also the other key takeaway is that we are seeing traction. We have had 4 REITs in 10 years. We are having 3 REITs being proposed in just a few months. So I think there's someone who said they want 100 REITs in a few years. That was Jeff. Jeff, your dreams are valid and has been proved today. So we are likely to have those REITs because now we're getting traction and it's getting faster and faster. So in conclusion, I've not put in the remarks from Cynthia and because this was just like 3 minutes ago. So I'm very sure it's still fresh in our minds. But in conclusion, what are we saying? We are saying that we have a young REIT market, but there's a great potential. So 500 billion, here we come. We're also saying that we need to now build industry enterprises. It's no longer people buying property. I met someone earlier on and they were telling me, my clients just buy property because of, you see an apartment, you like it, you buy. But now we're talking about thousands of units. I think someone talked about 1,400 residential units. There is no way that is going to be bought on a whim. Like I see it, I like it, my kids have a play area, they will buy it. That's an institutional type of investment. And we have now to start thinking with institutional mind or rather investor mind with us. And even those who are doing retail, they are now going to be asked many questions and very relevant questions thanks to this process of education. then we need to build capacity. And capacity here is not just the real estate. We have to build capacity even at regulatory level. Someone talked about aggregation. We can no longer just walk alone. I think there was an advertisement that said you don't walk alone. So in REIT, you don't walk alone. You have to have your service providers with you. You have to have your investors with you. You have to have your regulators and everyone with you. And then you're likely to be successful. Then I said professionals. We cannot underestimate professionals in this REIT environment. As you've seen, there's a lot. Today we've sat here for many hours and we haven't even finished. We are still scratching the surface. So you can imagine a lot that goes into a REIT, even when Cynthia was talking about just the OM. So you really do need to have professionals knowing what they're doing and doing what they need to do. And the second last one, I said that we need parent support. I think Samuel told us about parental support. If there's a time we need this, it's now, because REIT is not cheap to set up. REITs are not cheap to run, and therefore you need someone who can be able to unlock that seed capital. You need to have track record. You need to have proof of concept. These are all the words we've been hearing here today. So if you want to call people to come and invest with you, then you better have a structure and a fund that they can believe in. You can have to prove that you can do it and you've done it, and therefore the parent comes in very handy in this one. And thanks Mivida and Actis for that. You've shown us the way. And then the last time again, I said REITs require patient capital, so it's not for everyone. It is for that money that you can afford to keep aside for a very long time. That is the only way you can be able to extract value. And having rushed through this, I just want to leave you with a parting shot that I like most, and it says, that which we persist in doing becomes easier for us to do, not because it has changed, but because we have increased our power. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that is what you've been doing here today. You have been learning and learning and relearning. You've increased your power, and tomorrow you can be able to engage better in REIT space and also set up your REITs, invest in your REITs, analyze your REITs, and make REITs great again in Kenya. Thank you very much.